There is a high protein epidemic happening in our stores right now. It seems everywhere you look, there's a snack that says high protein slapped across the packaging. But how do you actually know what's worth your time and money and what isn't? Today, I'll be ranking 20 of the most common high protein snacks based on calorie to protein ratio, flavor, and cost to protein ratio, and using these numbers to determine our top 5 best protein snacks at the moment. In the last 3 years, we've helped over 300 men from all over the world lose anywhere from 5 to 50 kilograms by simplifying nutrition, just like this. I've selected items based on what I most commonly see at the grocery store and some suggestions from clients as well. Kicking us off with the protein milk choc by Vitawork. Let's talk numbers first. 9 grams of protein per serve for 184 calories. This gives it a protein to calorie ratio of 20%, which is pretty bad. When we're looking at protein to calorie ratio, something with ideally 50% plus is great. Some of the other items here do tick that box. So this is a low rating for protein to calorie ratio. I gave it a 1 out of 5. Protein to cost ratio, $7.95 per 30 grams of protein. So also a fairly high protein to cost ratio. Not a great total so far of 3 out of 10. Now we're gonna give it a rating for flavor. You know what? That actually tastes pretty good. If you gave this to me and told me it was dairy milk, I'd almost believe you, but not quite. I give the flavor maybe a 2.5 out of 5, which would give this a total of 5.5 out of 15 for the Vitaworks protein milk chocolate. We have the Rockabee's protein espresso snack. I've never actually had this before. I've had my fair share of Rockabee protein smoothies, which I think are actually pretty fantastic. They're not in the selection today, but let's give this espresso snack a go. So we got 147 calories for 15 grams of protein, which gives us a 41% protein to calorie ratio, which I rated a 4 out of 5. So actually a really solid amount of protein per calorie. And we got a cost per 30 grams of protein at $6. Let's see how it tastes. Oh, I don't mind that, hey. It's actually quite nice. It has a very strong espresso flavor. So texturally, I really like it. It's like a pudding, maybe like a slightly more watery version of a pudding, but it does taste good. This definitely could replace dessert. I'd give this a 3.5 out of 5 for flavor, which gives us a total rating of 10 out of 5 for the Rockabee protein espresso. This is currently our #1 ranking. That's the one to beat. Muscle Nation high protein yogurt. Dude, Muscle Nation are actually busting out new products seemingly every week. And I believe these are fairly new. We'll give this one a go and see if it's sort of holds up to the other products. So we got 98 calories and 15 grams of protein per serve, which gives this a protein to calorie ratio of 5 out of 5. That's excellent. So really happy with that. So if this is $3, which these protein yogurts typically are, that's gonna be a total of $6 per 30 grams of protein. For a snack, it's actually pretty good. I love the pouches as well. You can just rip it off and have it anywhere, which is super convenient. We got a tropical flavor. got excited, didn't it? All right, chill out, buddy. Chill out, buddy. Don't blow your load too quick. All right. Oh, that's good. That's really good. That's actually really nice, hey. Wow, it's a tropical flavor. Definitely, it's like a passion fruit. You can bet on me getting these again. That's really delicious. I'll give that a 4.5 out of 5 for flavor. This has a total score of 12.5 out of 15. So this is now the new protein snack to beat. Our only drink for today's lineup, we got the Pause Protein Plus Chalky flavored milk. 30 grams of protein per serve, 265 calories for a 45% protein to calorie ratio and a 4 out of 5 rating. $8.80 per 30 grams of protein. That's a 2 out of 5 for cost to protein ratio. Let's see how it tastes. This is actually typically my go-to. Like if I'm, caught after the gym and I've got to, go do something before I can get home and eat, I will typically grab one of these and a banana, and that'll be a great post-workout snack. So I already know how this tastes. It's gonna be lovely. Yeah, that's gangster. I really like this. It just tastes like chocolate milk. Really good stuff. For me, that's a 4.5 out of 5 for taste rating. So with the taste rating included, this works out to be a 10.5 out of 15 for our total score, which puts this in second place out of the first 4 products. This one I'm actually really looking forward to trying. Chobani Fit Caramel Choc Peanut Snack Pack. 16 grams of protein for 119 calories, which is actually pretty friggin' elite. That's a 54% calorie to protein ratio, which gives that a 4 out of 5. Now let's see how this tastes flavor-wise. Wow, this actually looks sick. So you pull that off, you go ahead and you just... I'm a huge fan of a variety in texture. That's quite delightful. Holy shit, I like that a lot. Texture-wise, 5 out of 5. But we're not talking about texture though, we're talking about flavor. Overall flavor, I really like it. I'd give this another 4 out of 5. Chobani doesn't really go wrong, you know? This is also a 10.5 out of 15 for our total score, which sits it pretty high up there. Eat Lean protein cheese, honey and salt protein crackers. So these are actually pretty wild in terms of protein and calorie ratio. We got 12.3 grams of protein and 97 calories per serve. That works out to be a 51% protein and calorie ratio and a 4 out of 5 on our 1 to 5 ranking. Cost-wise, we're looking at $9.75 per 30 grams of protein, so a little bit pricier. I actually haven't tried this before, but I have bought a few bags of their high protein cheese, and I've sung my fair share of praises about that because the macros on that thing is actually nuts. All right, let's see what the flavor's like. It's all right. It's all right. That's the thing about this really lean cheese. Yeah, the macros are nuts, but there's no fat in it, so it's quite plasticky. It lacks flavor, and it just doesn't hit the same way real cheese does. But then again, really no macro-friendly versions of things do. I wouldn't be particularly stoked about getting this every day, so I would give this a 3 out of 5 in terms of flavor. When we put together the protein and calorie ratio, the cost, and the taste, we're looking at an 8.5 out of 15. So very middle of the road. This is what I'm really excited to eat. I haven't had one of these in a very long time. So we got the Wicked Sister high protein caramel flavored pudding, 15 grams of protein, 157 calories, 38% protein and calorie ratio, which gives it a 3 out of 5. From what I understand though, this is meant to be more of a desserty option, so they would intentionally have a little bit more sugar in here to make it a bit sweeter. Yeah. This stuff's really, really good. I like it a lot. What is great about this is the texture. The texture of the Rockabilly's espresso snack is just a little bit runnier, maybe goopier. This one has more of a pudding-like texture. Like it actually feels like you're eating a dessert. Like look at that wiggle. You couldn't get the same wiggle with the espresso snack. Highly rate this flavor. I'm gonna give this a 5 out of 5 actually. With a flavor rating of 5 out of 5, this gets an 11 out of 15 total score, ranking this up with the juggernauts of the protein snacks. Definitely up there. So we have the Farmers Union Greek style yogurt. Now forgive me for going through all of like the fridge products first. I just don't want it sitting out for too long. Before I tuck into this one though, I do want to talk a little bit about something called the protein and calorie ratio. When we're looking for protein snacks, it's often best to check the back, look at the amount of protein, look at the amount of calories, and make sure that the protein number is at least 1/10 of the calorie number. So for example, 15.5 grams of protein per serve, 111 calories. That's what I would call a good protein and calorie ratio. If this had over 155 calories or, less than 11 grams of protein, I wouldn't consider that to be a worthwhile protein snack. So we've got the Farmers Union Greek style high and whole protein. Oh, that kind of sucks. Oh, I don't want to sound rude, but that sucks. I don't like that. 2 out of 5. Sorry, Farmers Union. Didn't really like that one. I've only tried the strawberry. I mean, maybe they're better flavors, but it just tastes underwhelming. Like, there's not much flavor there. Luckily for the Farmers Union, it has quite a good protein to calorie ratio. The cost per 30 grams of protein, $5.80. So it's actually one of the better cost to protein ratio. Gave it a 3 out of 5, but a 2 out of 5 for taste for a total score of 9.5 out of 15. Primo protein salami. So I've been seeing this all over. Actually, Primo is a massive company which do a lot of like cured meat products. Let's have a look at the stats real quick. 13 grams of protein per serve, 194 calories, so a protein and calorie ratio of 27%. Not great. 2 out of 5. $10.22 per 30 grams of protein, so not a great price to protein ratio either. Not really holding up numbers wise, but who knows, it might taste great. Okay, we're gonna stack it and we're gonna snack it. You know what? I actually like that. I'm not that big on like sweets and desserts and stuff, but man, put me in front of a charcuterie board, or sure, a charcuterie board, however you say it. I will devour the whole thing in 4 seconds flat. I won't even talk at like a social occasion because I'll just be too busy stuffing myself with cheese and cured meats. This is real good. I would give that a 4 out of 5 for flavor. Unfortunately, because the other numbers are so low, that gives it only a 7 out of 15. Now overall, good flavor though. Sunrise protein chips, barbecue flavor. 13.9 grams of protein, 208 calories. At 27% protein and calorie ratio, funnily enough, the exact same as our Primo protein salami. Me, how many times have I said protein in this one video? Let's tabulate it. $10.80 per 30 grams of protein. Not great. This one has to taste pretty damn good if we're gonna get up with the liters of the pack. That's intense. It doesn't taste too bad, it doesn't taste great. It's just a very middle of the road, like standard barbecue chip. So yeah, I don't mind it. I would give that a 3 out of 5 for flavor. You couldn't see myself buying this, hey. It was about $5 for the pack as well, which is pretty crazy for a pack of chips. It's just funny that as soon as you slap protein on something and whack in the health aisle, you can just jack up the price by like 40%. People will buy it. This is why it is important to have an understanding of what is going to be a good source of protein and what actually isn't. Companies will try to upsell you protein products when in reality they just aren't that good for hitting your protein targets. So we're totaling a 6 out of 15 for the Sunrise protein chips in the barbecue flavor. Jack Link's Mr. Beast. What the F? What the flavor? Beef jerky. 17.1 grams of protein, 123 calories, 56% protein and calorie ratio, $7.71. So cost per 30 grams of protein is actually quite good. Yeah, let's try it. Now I have no idea what flavor this is. Really good. I actually like that flavor. Whatever it is, I like it. I would give that a 4 out of 5. If you're wondering what I'm doing, by the way, I'm just updating the spreadsheet that I have everything laid out here, which would give the Jack Link's Mr. Beast beef jerky a total of 10.5 out of 15. So that's actually quite a good score, up there with the juggernauts. So as protein snacks go, I would argue that beef jerky is one of the better ones. There's a lot of protein. They're quite chewy. It's gonna take a while to eat it. That becomes very hard to over ingest something, which does take longer to eat. And they're also quite ubiquitous. Like you can find a Jack Link's at pretty much every Servo or grocery store. So yeah. Well, officially halfway through the ranking here, coming in at our number 1 spot is the Muscle Nation Protein Yogurt. And then we have 3 tires at 10.5. That is our Paul's Protein Plus, our Chobani Fit Flip Caramel, and our Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Quest Soft and Chewy Protein Cookie. I don't think I've ever eaten a protein cookie. Ever. 15 grams of protein, 236 calories. We got a 25% protein to calorie ratio. Not fantastic. That's a 2 out of 5. Cost is one of the higher ones, $10.80 per 30 grams of protein. So we're really not ticking any boxes so far. It doesn't even smell good. But I have a feeling this is gonna taste a lot very artificial. Okay. I've retracted my previous statement. This is quite nice. I actually quite like this. Definitely some artificial sweetness in there, but it's nice. I give it a 3.5 out of 5, which would give it a total score of, let me consult my laptop, 6.5 out of 15, which is a little bit disappointing for the Quest protein cookie. Uncle Toby's protein muesli. 7 grams of protein, 139 calories, gives us a protein to calorie ratio of 20%. Not great. 1 out of 5 for that ranking, and we got $5.74 for the cost per 30 grams of protein. Surprisingly, this actually has the best cost per 30 grams of protein of the bunch today. Let's give this a go. So we got the raspberry goji white choc. What on earth is that? I do not like the smell of that. This might be a really niche / random statement to say, but when I smelt this, it smelled like the smell of ants. You know when you like crush a little ant and you sniff your fingers after? That's what the inside of this packet smells like. And Brendy no likey. I can taste pretty good, you know, pretty middle of the road. Don't like the smell, but 3 out of 5 and 2.5 out of 5 in terms of flavor. So in terms of overall ranking, the cost to protein ratio is quite good and actually pulling up a little bit. That's a 7.5 out of 15. But yeah, I would rank this highly as a protein snack. So you guys can't see it, but there is so much shit off to the side. I'm actually gonna take a quick video so you can see this. All the snacks. But, looks clean on that end, funnily enough. Smushed raspberry brownie protein balls by Tasty. So we got 10 grams of protein, 231 calories per serve. Not a great protein to calorie ratio. It's a 0.5 out of 5 from me. $6 per 30 grams of protein, 3 out of 5. Let's see what the flavor's like. Oh God, I don't like that. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that, to be honest. It's just not my flavor. I can see how people would like this. It's kind of how I feel about like trail mix. I can see why people like it. I personally don't. So yeah, for me, Flavor-wise, 2 out of 5, which gives this a score, an overall score of 5.5 out of 5, and actually makes this in line with the VitaWorks for our Hall of Shame at the bottom of the protein totem pole. I cannot wait to throw those in the bin. Jokes. Actually, I am. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a protein snack that I am somewhat familiar with. 20.7 grams of protein, 256 calories. So funnily enough, the Musashi Protein Crisp is actually outside of that 10-to-1 calorie ratio, but this more than makes up for it in flavor. And I know I've kind of given away the flavor rating by saying that, but man, the white chocks, cookies and cream Musashi Protein Crisp is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Cost per 30 grams of protein, $7.10. So one of the better-ish ones on this list. Still a 2 out of 5 though. We'll give it a go for flavor rating. This is nice. This is nice. Really huge fan of this one. This would be a 4 out of 5 in terms of flavor. In total, 8.5 out of 15. Next up, we have the Musashi High Protein Bar. Now, in terms of calorie to protein ratio, this is pretty elite. We've got 45 grams of protein for 330 calories, which actually gives us a 55% protein to calorie ratio, which is a 4.5 ranking. So really, really good ranking there. Cost per 30 grams of protein is $4.52. So this is actually the best cost per 30 grams of protein as well. I don't think I've actually tried this before though, so it'll be interesting to see how this actually tastes. Something tells me it's going to be very dense. Yep, it's dense, all right. It actually tastes quite nice though. The outside is very dark chocolatey, but the inside is like a nice sort of sweet caramel nougat, however you say that word, and it tastes quite good. Not as good as the protein crisp, just because it doesn't have the same sort of textural element to it, but all good nonetheless. And because it has such a great protein rating, and because it has such a great cost per 30 grams of protein rating, that is going to give it a pretty solid score of 12 out of 15. That's our #1 contender so far for the top protein snack. So epic. Next up is the Muscle Nation Protein Creatine Bar. I always see them on the shelves and I always want to buy one. 15.5 grams of protein, 204 calories. Protein and calorie ratio, 30%, 3 out of 5. So pretty middle of the road in terms of protein and calorie ratio. The cost is $9.48 per 30 grams of protein. So cost-wise, not great. The flavor could be nice. We'll see. We will see. That tastes pretty good. That tastes damn good. That's probably the best protein bar I've tried. Even better than the Musashi Protein Crisp, to be honest. I really like that. I'll be holding on to that one. We're gonna give that a 4 out of 5, or a 4.5 out of 5, which gives an 8.5 total score out of 15. So again, pretty middle of the road. Next up, we got the XP High Protein Bar. We've got 35 grams of protein, 273 calories, protein to calorie ratio. It's got a score of 52%, which is actually really good, and a 4 out of 5 on our rankings. However, if we look at the ingredients list, the first ingredient is an XP protein blend. Most prominent ingredient in that blend, hydrolyzed bovine collagen. The thing about collagen protein is that it doesn't include the necessary amino acids to build muscle mass. It's more so for hair, skin, and nails. Unless your goals are to have better hair, skin, and nails, you want to go for another source of protein, ideally a whey-based protein or a casein-based protein, because these actually have the necessary amino acids to help build muscle mass, whereas collagen protein does not. If I was, in the market for a protein bar and I saw collagen as the first ingredient, I wouldn't actually buy this protein bar. Cost per 30 grams of protein, $4.21. So the cost rating is excellent. However, I think this has to do with them using collagen protein and not other protein. I mean, maybe collagen protein is cheaper. I actually don't know. However, let's give it a quick taste test. To me, there's nothing that's outstanding about this. It's just a very generic protein bar with like a soft nougat in the middle. I would give this a very just middle of the road, 2.5 out of 5 for flavor. Now this has actually got a total of 11 out of 15 in terms of total score. However, as we were speaking about earlier, I'm a little concerned about the efficacy of the protein in this protein bar. So I'm actually going to put a line through this one. Even though it's a very highly ranked bar, this probably isn't going to be a great option because of the collagen content. Famous Nutrition Protein Bar plus Creatine. Creatine, as we know, is a glorious supplement for building lean mass over time, for increasing your ATP, short, sharp strength movements, which helps you improve gym performance more quickly over time, which helps you build lean muscle mass. Creatine's a great thing to supplement. However, we know that the minimum efficacious dose of creatine is going to be at minimum 3-4 grams per day. Anything under that isn't going to make a huge amount of difference. This has 1.5 grams of creatine per bar. The creatine being in there at an under efficacious dose, it just isn't really helping. They put in some creatine there just to put creatine on the front, so people go, oh, that's got creatine, that must be good. But in reality, having this is not going to be the same as having a scoop of an efficacious dose of creatine every day. 21.7 grams of protein, 205 calories, so a really solid protein to calorie ratio. 42%, 4 out of 5 ranking, $6.22 per 30 grams of protein. That's nice. That's actually quite nice. I think it's a very aesthetically pleasing bar, isn't it? You can see that, but you see it in the lighting. Aside from the creatine thing, I think that is just a bit of a marketing ploy, putting creatine on the front and then underdosing the creatine. It does taste good. The protein and calorie ratio is good. It's actually quite a cheap source of snack protein as well. And in terms of flavor, 3 out of 5. So that's a 10 out of 15 total for the famous protein and creatine bar. Alrighty, don't get me started on Greenback. We're actually saving the worst for last today. Nah, I'm just kidding. I don't want to take it too hard on Greenback. They seems like a really nice company. However, I do not like the protein calorie ratio with this bar. 11 grams of protein for 224 calories. Not good, not good. And weirdly enough, you have the 22% protein on the front. If you see a bar and it says 22% protein, 30% protein, 35, whatever it is, have a look at the back, look at the protein per serving, look at the calories per serving. Make sure it matches our 10-to-1 rule. The 22% of protein is definitely just trying to reel you in. It's 11 grams of protein for 224 calories. Sucks. Cost-wise, $12. $12 per 30 grams of protein. This bar itself was like $6, which is wild. So let's see how it tastes, but man, I'm not loving it so far, I'll be honest. You know what? Pleasantly surprised. Pleasantly surprised. Positive thing about Greenback, the ingredients list, at least compared with other protein bars, is a hell of a lot shorter, and it is full of whole food ingredients. However, the calorie to protein ratio and the price point is diabolical. We're gonna give that a 3 out of 5 for flavor. You know what, actually, let's be nice. Let's give Greenback a 3.5 out of 5, which gives it a total of 5 out of 15. We got one more protein snack to have before we finish up this video. 5.2 grams of protein for 89 calories. So 25% calorie to protein ratio, 2 out of 5, $8.82 per 30 grams of protein. After all those sweet protein bars, a little bit of salt in this tastes absolutely glorious. But objectively speaking, no, it's actually pretty good. I like it. Let's give that a 4 out of 5. Donski's salami sticks for a total of 8 out of 15. Golly! All right, so the top 5 protein snacks in our stores in 2026 that I've tried today, ranked by protein and calorie ratio, price per 30 grams of protein, and flavor, is as follows. In the number 5, 4th, and 3rd spot, all with an overall ranking of 10.5, is the Paul's Protein Chocolate Flavored Milk, the Chobani Fit Flip Protein Snack, and the Jack Link's Beef Jerky Mr. Beast What's the Flavor Edition. 1, 2, and 3 right here. In the number 2 spot, we have the Wicked Sister High Protein Caramel Pudding. Really good. Probably the nicest thing I put in my mouth today. And number 1, fresh to the market, is the Muscle Nation High Protein Yogurt. This was delicious, great protein to calorie ratio, not overly expensive, and honestly, something I'll be picking up again. So, Muscle Nation, good on you guys. I hope that was helpful. I'll see you in the next one.